Welcome to the Community Table, where we explore the secrets to success of the top real estate producers in our local market. A real conversation, hosted by Community Mortgage.
Welcome to the Community Table. We are back in action with the two of the best in the city, Ashley Tinker and Rachel Goss from Realtors. We saw you guys in action at the Vesta Home Show, but today we're in the studio talking about some business, market trends, and your journey through real estate. I'm also going to get the story behind the two of you.
Okay.
So let's get this started. Now that some time has passed since we've been and walked through the Vesta, what's one takeaway that stuck with you the most? Let's start with you, Ashley, since you're closest.
Sure. Well, thanks for having us.
You're so
this
welcome.
Is so fun. I think the biggest takeaway, since from when we walked through it to now, I've had so many conversations with friends and clients of just interest in either new homes, design choices, changes in their homes. I think you walk through it. No one can walk through the show and not be inspired.
Right.
So I think the takeaway is people really love that show. You don't have to be in the market to buy a home. People love it. They go walk 2 hours. It's kind of tradition for people.
Right.
I've
And
seen,
dream.
yes, and we can dream big.
Right.
So I think just the show is it's vital to the real estate market. And like I said, you don't have to be in the market to buy to enjoy it.
Do other cities have this? I'm not sure.
My brother lives in right outside of Kansas City, and they have something similar. It's not called the Vesta Home Show,
Right.
but I've happened to be up there one year when they were having it, so we walked through it. But it's very different. It's different. The Midwest design choices are different than what we have down here in the South, for sure, and kind of what their buyers are more interested in versus here. So it was interesting to do it.
Okay. And what stuck with you?
I think what stuck with me was just the livability of the homes. Sometimes in Vesta past, they have been these large estates on acreage. These homes felt so livable. I mean, we're still talking, 4,500 plus square feet. So not small by any measure. But I think when you are walking through it, you could see your family in there. You could see Christmas morning, just the flow of the homes, to me, was something that really stuck out, that you think, I might not can afford this home, but I could see myself living in this space because of the floor plans.
Right.
The floor plans were designed for how families live in 2025, and I really appreciated that in each house. Mm-hmm.
Well, what trend or feature do you think is going to stick or be the biggest impact on buyers going into 2026? What did we see out there? I think we saw a lot. Lots of movie rooms, huge kitchens,
Great
outdoor
outdoor
living spaces,
spaces.
right?
Yeah, the outdoor spaces were
What
really
kind of
cool.
features can people take into 2026, getting those ideas from there, you think?
I think something that stuck out for me too was just the bold tile choices. Nothing was bland. Everything was super specific. A lot of those homes had those handmade tiles that were square instead of a Subway size. You're just seeing a lot of interesting choices that aren't bland. We're coming out of 2020, 2021 when everything was white and gray. And now we see color and antique furniture and traditional elements being brought into these homes. And I think that's reassuring for a lot of people who are thinking, I've lived in my home for 20 years and I want to update it, but I don't want a white house.
Right.
I don't want a gray house. How do I do that? And Vesta, that really stuck out to me, that you see lots of color and lots of really bold tile choices. So if I'm thinking I'm just going to update my hall bathroom, do some cool wallpaper, do a fun tile choice, be bold in it, because you can.
Right.
Yeah, I think to second what Rachel said even earlier, the homes this year, the spaces were so elevated and bold and patterned and textured and fabrics and great wallpaper, vibrant colors, but they were functional.
Right.
And, you could just picture yourself there. So I think another element I'll mention is that outdoor-indoor living. So many of the homes had those fabulous, heavy-duty, expandable doors, and it really just extends your home. The
retractable screens, stuff like that. It was really cool.
It was very nice.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. What do you think the main goal of Vesta is? I mean, is it to spark inspiration for homeowners, connect people with those pros for doing it, or is it something else entirely?
I think it's a huge benefit to be able to connect with some of the professionals in our market, in this industry. I think that's great that buyers can walk through and see a phenomenal pantry laid out or, custom closets and have the contacts there with professionals in the field. So definitely that, but I think it's a little bit of both. I think, like I mentioned, you can't walk through it and not be inspired to update your space. And so you may not leave the Vesta and plan a whole home renovation, but you may leave and want to update your bathroom or your laundry room, and you've been inspired to see like bold, vibrant patterns and colors to be able to do it.
Right. Because what I noticed, every single house was they were beautiful, but they were all entirely different.
Yeah.
Right.
Different designers.
Right.
Completely different patterns.
That's what's cool
Color
about
tones
it.
and everything like that. Yep. So that's what was cool about it to me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. And I think it depends on the person walking through the home, what it means to them.
Right.
Because if I'm trying to buy new construction, then I'm, just like Ashley said, I'm connecting with custom home builders and designers and looking at different floor plans and layouts. If I'm just in my current home and want some inspiration, I'm getting that too. So I think it can be anything to anyone. It just depends on kind of the season you're in when you're walking through it.
Right. Well, I think we had a great time at the Vesta Home Show. Thank you guys for walking with it through us. But let's dive into the two of you. So you're both in real estate, Reed Realtors.
Yep.
Right? That's a local owned company.
Yes.
I want you to tell us a little bit about that. And what inspired you? Why in the world would you want to get into real estate?
We ask ourselves that every day.
We're still here.
We're still here.
Does, right?
I came from a corporate background. So I was in global marketing for an orthopedic company for about 12 years. And before I jumped into real estate. And I think what real estate has married is my love for people, but also homes. My mom's an interior designer.
Okay.
We grew up, I think I've been to every Vesta home show. I mean, we grew up going to home shows and looking at houses. And if there's an open house, we're going to go. Like, that was just what we did growing up. And so when you take the love of a beautiful home and people and you put them together, then real estate is a great industry to be in. And I think, too, I have 3 kids. And we always say one of the bad things about real estate is that it's always on. But I can push pause when I need to and show up for my kids in a better way than I could when I was in corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So my story is pretty similar to Rachel's. I was in a sales job, though. And I think the best part of that was working so closely with people, not necessarily hitting sales numbers and goals, although I may have done that. It was more about the relationships and the connections with people. And so the Lord just sort of drifted me toward real estate. A door had opened a few years after college. And so I worked for an investment firm for about 9 years. And then once I had my second child, I'm a mom of 2, I felt like it was time to branch out and trust that I could do this on the more traditional side. So again, it allows me to work closely with people, do life with people, the highs and lows of life. Not everything, not everything are the sweeter moments in life, although we get a lot of those. But just stepping alongside people this is such a significant milestone in life.
Right.
We aren't buying homes every year. A lot of people do this maybe 4 to 5 times in their lifetime, maybe less. So it's an honor to just get to walk alongside with people.
And see the joy when they buy the house and the smiles and the crying at the table and things like that. So,
and I think to also just piggyback on Rachel, being a mom, it's a lifestyle to be a real estate agent. You are on 24/7.
That's
but
what I was going to ask, work-life balance. How do you do that?
We don't have work-life balance. Still working on that, and this will be my 5th year with Reed. But I will say I don't miss a field trip. I get to go to the Christmas programs. I may hustle at night and on the weekends.
Right, so you can enjoy those
but it just works.
Kids.
It allows me to be
That's awesome.
the mom I want to be.
Correct. And the flexibility.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what's awesome about it. You guys are, I guess, self-employed, so you can basically work for yourself, even though you work for Reed, and you can go to work and not work when you want.
That's right.
So that's awesome. What separates Reed Realtors from other brokerages in town? Why do you guys choose them?
Reed is different, I think. We call ourselves a boutique brokerage, which is just, I think, a fancy way of saying that we are smaller than some of the other bigger brokerages in town. But I think what that allows us to do is be flexible with one another. All of us agents are in a similar season of life. And one of the things that impresses me about how Michael and Rachel Jaques run Reed Realtors is it's always family and faith first. And that just aligns with what my values are too.
Right.
And so, if you do have to miss a meeting because you have a field trip, they're like, bye, have a great time.
Go be a mom.
Go do what, go
Right.
do what you need to do. But I think that we are a hometown brokerage. Most of us have all been born and raised here in Memphis. We know the area extremely well. And so I think that makes a difference when we're hunting for houses, especially on the buy side, or knowing how to properly list on the sell side. I think you'll see a difference with Reed than some of the bigger brokerages out there.
Yeah, and I think just to follow up on that, we are, again, smaller, more of a boutique type feel, but I think we feel like family, and I think we feel like family to our clients because we are that family first, kind of faith-driven, company. And I love that. There are great brokerages throughout Memphis, but it's the people around the table that, got me over to Reed and has kept me there. I've never looked back. And I think it's been a good reflection to see like Michael and Rachel Jaques, Melvin Guy, our managing broker, the way that they serve their clients as well. It just trickles down to all of us.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think you guys have both created a strong impact in the Mid-South. What do you think your clients like to work with you specifically? Why?
You have to go read all of our Google reviews. I'm kidding.
Yeah, there's some reviews out there. That's funny to answer.
Well, it's hard to speak for your clients.
Of course.
So I guess I'll speak to what I hope that they say.
Yeah.
I hope that my clients see the level of just time, intention, and detail. And I think Ashley and I work very similarly in how we serve our clients, that, whether your house is $300,000 or $1.2 million, I want you to see the same level of effort from me as your agent.
Right.
Because it matters. And the little things matter. And going above and beyond, it matters. And I might have several transactions going on at one time, but for that client, that's their only transaction. And so the level of attention and detail and communication that you get from me is a hope what they see. If I'm thinking about something, then I know my client's thinking about it. And so trying to anticipate their needs before they even ask is something that's super important for me because I want them to know that it's top of mind. And so communication is a big part of that. And that's something that's really, I've tried to implement into my business in the last couple of years is the frequency of how I communicate and how I do that. So I hope that's what my clients see is that I really do care. You're not just a number. You're not just a transaction. This is a big deal. Yeah. You're buying a house. Yeah. You're going to bring your babies home here, or you're going to retire here, wherever season of life you're in. Yeah. It's important. And that's literally our job is to help you find a home or sell home and enter you into your next season of life. So,
yeah, I would say a lot of what Rachel said in my business, it's just not just a transaction. My goal is it doesn't matter if I'm working with 2 clients at one time or 12. I want you to feel like you're my only client that's in front of me. And so it's that attention to detail. It's the truly caring about every detail of this to carry the weight for the clients, to handle some of the heavy lifting. There's a lot of steps that go into getting a client to the closing table. And so, I think it's, again, that attention to detail. Communication is huge.
But there's systems and processes you can put into place to do that. And so if, when we're talking to agents out there, I think a big thing for me has been listening to other agents. Like, go to mastermind events, go to community roundtables,
learn from other agents
because everybody nobody gatekeeps in this market. I found, like, especially the really successful agents, they're like, let me just tell you how I do it. This is what works for me. There's enough business out there for everybody. Right. And your clients are going to pick you for you and me for me, but this is a system I put into a place, or this is something I've done. And so those community events that some of the bigger brokerages hold, and they're just like front door wide open, come sit and be a part of it, I think has been something really big for my business. And Ashley and I have been a part of some of those. So that's like a tip I think I would give to other agents if you're trying to figure out, really, especially if you're new to the industry, what works for you and how to do that. Like, learn from people who've done it forever, because everybody has a different process and system that they use. And there's a lot of stuff out there. And I think when I first started in real estate, I was just like throwing money at the wall and see what's going to stick.
Right.
A lot of it didn't stick. And so it takes a little bit of time, but you got to figure out what works for you and the way that you do business, but there's a lot of info out there if you'll just take the time to listen to each other, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And agents want to help other agents. You know, again, there's this camaraderie in this industry that I love. I came from a pretty sharky atmosphere at the investment firm that I worked with, sales, and this is just so different. That was a really fun thing to see in this market when I moved into
brokerages.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because
That's
every
awesome.
transaction's so different. The market continues to change. Systems change. New technology, different things are always coming at us. You know, new ways to put content on social media. And so, you know, I have seen, I'm with Rachel, I've seen a lot of agents just be open to helping and
Well, at the end of the
there's
day,
enough sunshine around.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there's another agent on the side of every transaction.
That's right.
Right. So it's advantageous for us to work together to get this deal to the closing table.
Right.
You know, we're advocating for our clients, sure. But at the same time, I know you can say this too, times
sure.
are we on the phone with the other agent like, whoa, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this work? Like, how do we all win?
Right.
Actually, and I just did a deal together last week where
Yes,
we
I
were
saw
like,
that.
how do we all win? Because of something that came up. And so it is. And when everybody feels like there's camaraderie and it's a team effort, I think it works better. So when we can be kind to each other as agents, it just helps.
It makes a huge
yeah,
difference.
for sure.
Yeah, I've heard agents say, I really like that other person on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're going to go do that house or have that house because I've worked so well with them in the past.
Yeah.
And then I've also heard them say, ooh, I'm not sure if this is going to go very well.
Well, when you see that person's name come over on an offer, good, bad, or indifferent,
Right.
you're like, this is about to go one way or the other.
That's right.
So I hope when people see my name on an offer, they think this is about to be as smooth as we hope it
Yeah.
can be.
Great. Great.
I love working with Ashley.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So in 2026, what do you think most buyers are going to ask for? And how are you guys going to strategize your tactics to help them?
So I think this is
Like, what are we going into 2026 for? What do you think buyers are going to, where are we going? Where are we headed? They
Yeah.
looking for lower rates? They looking for lower priced houses? Like, what do you guys think?
I think rates for sure,
We would love
because
that.
we're coming off of a year where rates had spiked, and so that has been an adjustment. I think value in the property beyond pricing. You know, I want to know about a neighborhood or the schools or you know, affordability or what features, what will help this be a great for resale down the road. Not everybody buys their house and plans to be there for life.
Right,
You know.
right.
They may have a 7 to 10 year plan. So I think for me, it's just continuing to educate myself on the neighborhoods, on the benefits of different areas in Memphis. And, you know, I think it's funny because my business has always been throughout Memphis, from downtown to midtown, East Memphis. I live in East Memphis. We do life in Germantown. My kiddos go to school in Germantown. All the way to Collierville and Arlington and Lakeland. So I've really done business everywhere, but I think it's just continuing to educate myself so that I can help my clients know what's going to be their best fit long term.
Yeah, I think we always talk about the rates, but if we look beyond why the rates matter, it's because livability is hard right now.
Right.
I was at Dillard's last night, like trying to find a Christmas dress for my 10-year-old, and everything was like $74.
Everything's
And I was
so
like, I don't want to buy a $74 Christmas dress for my
she's gonna
10-year-old.
wear
Just going to
what
wear it
she
one
wants.
time, and she'll probably think it's ugly anyway. But I think we're seeing this big time with our first-time home buyers. I mean, I had some clients who we ended up having to. We made an offer and ended up having to really just pull out of it because when they saw numbers from the lender, they were like, we just can't do this.
It's not affordable.
It's not affordable.
Right.
And it was a smaller house than they
yeah.
even really needed, but it's what they could afford. And it really struck me that a lot of people are just getting by right now. And so rates do matter because that directly affects what you can get, you know? And so for, you know, upper middle class, whatever, you might not be so worried about rates, or if you have clients paying with cash, they're for sure not worried.
Right.
But I think for the majority of Memphis home buyers, it's going to be, what are the rates? Because that directly relates to what my monthly note is, and my monthly note directly relates to how I live.
Right.
So
So that kind of leads into my next question of, you know, you were talking about the changes, rates, it's affordability. What changes are you seeing in the behavior of those buyers, and how are you guys giving them advice for that? Because if you guys had the buyer back out because
Yeah.
it was affordability, what kind of advice are you giving them?
You know,
Hold
that was
off, wait
really
for rates to
sad.
come
They
down.
were like upset. They were so nervous. They were like, you've worked so hard. You're not going to get paid. I was like, you're right, but that's okay. It's fine. I'm like twitching. It's fine. No. I said, look, guys, the worst thing to be is house poor. I would never want to encourage you to purchase a home that you don't feel comfortable with.
Right.
So, let's wait till the spring. Let's really figure out what number you feel comfortable with. Let's see what those rates do in the spring. Let's work some different options with your lender. There's different options you guys have out there to make this work. And, we'll figure something out. But I think it's just hard. I think for 2026, what I'm going to do with my clients is let's not look at what you want. Let's look at what you need. If you need a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in this area of town, then let's look at it and let's look at the bones of the house, and then you can update as you go. Because at your price point, you're going to get you want an updated 4.3, you're not going to get that. You're going to get an updated 3.2.
Right.
So you need 4 bedrooms. You have 3 kids and yourself. You need 4 bedrooms. Let's find that house, and then you can put money into it and create equity over a long period of time doing those renovations to bring it up to what you want it to look like. Because a lot of times we get into these funks with people where you're like, they see a house, they love it, especially if you've looked at houses with somebody for like a year. They've seen the rates go like this. So they started at $700,000. What they buy is $550,000. And a $700,000 house and a $550,000 house are very different.
Huge difference.
But it's because of what the rates have done.
That's right.
And so
trying to create that same payment.
Right. And so it's having those tough conversations with your clients of like, let's go back to the drawing board, guys. What do you really need in the season of life that you're in? The other stuff you can add later.
Where will you feel comfortable long term? Because we genuinely do life with people.
Right.
So you don't want to
spend
call
hours a day
a year
with them
later or
sometimes,
2 years later with an unhappy client. I mean, we care. I think you have to care to be a good real estate agent in this industry.
Yeah.
And they can just go to Vesta and get inspired.
It's true.
Well, what's something about being a real estate agent, especially in the Memphis area, that most people don't see or appreciate about what you do?
I'm going to let Ashley start because she has some crazy stories that we will leave for
Let's hear them.
the
That's
after
a
dark
different
session.
Yeah.
Real estate after dark.
Can you edit some things out? No, it's funny. I would say this is probably across the board. And I think my clients appreciate, but I don't think people realize what all we do. We do so
Behind the scenes.
just behind the scenes, the day in, day out, the conversations with agents and lenders and closing attorneys and home inspectors and learning how to negotiate for your client really well. Like those skills, you have them or you don't. And I think just the ins and outs, it's really a lifestyle. I go on vacation and I'm working, my phone's with me, and that's fine. It works for me. It may not work for everyone. But so again, I think maybe what people don't see is we do a lot more than put a sign in the yard, open doors, and host open houses.
And post pictures on Instagram. And
that's right.
Looking beautiful.
This month.
That's right.
And we get in
easy.
trouble for that too, of not posting not in trouble, but in the industry of posting just closed. And there's no story behind what got you to that closing table. I mean, I have clients where you've literally looked for months for a home,
like you said,
especially
year.
on the buy side. Looked months for a home. You've looked everywhere from Fayette County to Germantown. You know, they've had babies in the middle of the home search or almost got divorced or whatever. And just keeping those trained on the tracks, even little things like, I'm not even going to tell them that there's an issue with this hot water heater. I'm just calling my plumber and he's going to go over there and I'm going to take care of it.
Right.
Because they can't handle it right now.
And that's
like
not
that will
something
push them off the cliff, and it's
every
my
agent
job.
would do.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay for that out of their own pocket.
Right.
No. And
You know?
and we get in trouble at Reed sometimes because we do too much. And Mike's always like, y'all got to chill. Y'all
We're
do too
really
much.
bad about just taking on
We
things
just
that are
take care. We probably
probably
overextend
outside of our
ourselves.
job. Yeah.
But
why two
that's
of the
how
best, right?
that's how we do what we do. I think we
Right.
built our businesses around that people just know it's going to get taken care of. And
We've talked about this before, about just setting a little bit of boundaries around what we do and what are our, what is our job role in this.
Right.
And then Rachel and I have had coffee and said, well, that's really why we are the agent. That's what makes us us.
Right.
how you
that
do
we go
anything is
above
how
and
you do
beyond.
everything. You know?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's hard to break away from that. We've gotten better, I think, as we've come along of
I think
saying
you
like,
have to.
like I just got a house ready to list a couple weeks ago, and there was just some stuff. I'm like, they had already moved. Like, we've got to fix this, and so I did it and sent them the invoices. But I was over there meeting the contractors and all that, and I thought this is the value I'm bringing, and then they paid for it, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And that's really how it
That's how it should
okay.
be. That's how it should
Yeah.
be.
I mean, if somebody has a great experience, they're going to say, Ashley, Rachel, you've got to call these people.
Right.
Right.
They
Referrals
took care
are
of
huge.
everything. These
They're
girls are
huge.
amazing. They're huge, whatever. So that's great. All right. So what are your goals? Let's talk about that in 2026. Did you meet them in 25? You did? Congrats.
I was where I wanted to be. I think my goal for 2026, it's growth, but a healthy growth, not growth that takes me away from being a mom and a wife. That's my greatest assignment, but it's learning to continue to implement systems and processes that help me streamline and scale.
Yeah.
One agent can only do so much. So I think long term, some agents have teams under them or a buyer's agent, things like that. Right now, I'm okay where I am. But I do think just as an individual agent, I want to continue to put systems and processes in place so that I can really scale.
Right.
So I always set very large goals for myself. So if I'm completely transparent, I did not hit my goal this year, but I did better than I did last year. So that was a win.
That's a win.
There's a win.
Yes. So my year-over-year growth was good. You know what's funny is I was reading a devotional this morning, and I just felt like I'm very goal-driven to a fault. Like, give me a sales goal, oh, I'm going to crush it. And I lose a lot in that process sometimes because I'm so numbers-driven. And so, the Lord just told me this morning that my goal for 2026 is contentment. Contentment, whatever that looks like. Beyond the sales dollar or the quantity of homes sold is just knowing that He's going to put in front of me exactly the deals He wants me to work and exactly the families He wants me to help. As Ashley said earlier, it's such an honor to partner with these people. And if I look beyond the sales numbers, for me, real estate has been such a ministry. I got a house under contract last week, and I told the clients, I'm on the sell side, so I'm the listing agent, and it's contingent on the buyer's home selling. And I said, what this buyer doesn't realize that he's got an army of people praying for his house to be sold. And I just think that that's such a special part. I can't tell you how many kitchens I have sat in with clients and prayed over them as they've cried about just life and stuff. And these people walk really closely alongside of you for months on end, and you become like a part of their family almost.
Yeah.
But the Lord just told me, be content with what I put in front of you. I know what's coming. I know all of the other responsibilities on your plate outside of real estate. Be content with what I give you. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need to work hard. It doesn't mean you don't need to put systems in place to grow and processes to grow. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have you work exactly what I want you to. And I don't want you to miss the people and the numbers, because that's your greatest ministry. So I think that that's my goal for 2026 is, hey, let's crush those sales goals. But if it doesn't work, then we're going to be content that we did what we were supposed to do.
So that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Let's talk about systems. I keep hearing you guys say that. So like a day in the life of the two of you, how do you get business? How do you go out?
Will
and
you
try
tell us how to get business?
I know, that's what I'm saying, right? I
That's
wanna
everybody's
know.
goal,
right?
right? Yeah.
So,
You
are you
too.
getting up making 48 calls a day? Are you going out having coffees with the clients? Are you trying to talk to people? Like, what is a day in the life of a realtor?
So it varies depending on the season. I think, I think there's been, real estate does this.
Right.
There's waves of it. And so if you're not really busy and working with clients at that moment, and you have several transactions going on, or you're showing houses or whatnot, and you're in a slow season, you should totally work your CRM, your sphere. Have coffee with people, go to lunch, but be authentic. Don't do it to just gain business,
Right.
Of course, be authentic to who you are and personal in that. But I think there's certain systems you can have in place. The technology stuff, the social media.
I was going to ask about
That's not my forte, but there are people that you hire that can run that for you. And so those are the type of systems and processes. How can I scale? I have met so many homeowners and clients through social media. This is just the world we live in. And so I would say to new agents too, put yourself out there, but it's okay to mix it in and blend it with your family.
Right.
We're not just
Not all
real
about
estate
business.
agents. We weren't meant to be just to work our lives away. I'm really bad about a work-life balance. So I'm speaking to myself when I'm saying this, but there are just certain things that you can put into place, like newsletters and automated systems that you can do to just touch your clients and stay in front of your sphere.
Yeah, I mean, I think your best client was, or your new client is the best, or the best client you've had was the client you had before.
That's right. That's right.
Because they're the ones that are going to be referring you.
Right. And
hopefully.
if you've served them well, they're going to tell your name to friends and families. And I have several clients who have referred people, and that's an honor.
That's the best type of business you get is
That's right.
referral from family, friends.
That's right.
They already kind of know, like, and trust you. And I think consistency is huge. You don't have to invest in like this system that's going to cost you $1,000 a month to just show up. Like this morning, I was up. I was sending weekly updates to my sellers. I send them weekly email updates. I was on my computer sending weekly updates because I knew I had this today, and then I've got stuff with my kids this afternoon.
You were up early.
Yeah, we have. I was up early. We have possession on a house that we did a deal together. Possessions at noon today. I was texting those clients because I know they're thinking, "What time do I get in? When can I get keys?" It's just anticipating that, and then I'm going to send out my monthly newsletter this afternoon. So if I write it in my planner, this is free. This is free, guys. Write it in your planner. If you're a paper and pencil kind of person, I am. Write it down because if it's on there, it's happening. I'm doing it. I'm a cross off the list kind of person. Not everybody's like that.
That's right.
And also some people really work their business through phone calls. That's not me. I tried to do that with leads, buying leads when I first started, and I quickly realized this is not who I am. I don't nurture these leads well. I don't nurture people I don't know. Right. And so when I did a deep dive into my business this year, I found that majority of my business comes from Sphere and Sphere referral. And so that's what I'm going to choose to invest in. Right. Yeah. And so it is just tomorrow I'm going to coffee with a client who I met at an open house. They moved here from Virginia, and, she doesn't know a lot of people, but we became friends. And she's like, "Hey, I'd love to grab coffee. Let's catch up before Christmas." So we're just going to grab coffee tomorrow. It's nothing huge.
And she reached out to you?
Yes, she reached out to me. Right.
Yeah,
and so, it's just showing up authentically in the places that you are. And that's on social too. You cannot post on social once a month and be like, "I don't have any clients from Instagram." You're not showing up.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's showing up on social. You have to.
Right.
And whether it's uncomfortable or not, if it's uncomfortable for you to be in front of a camera, do it anyway.
Right.
Because the more you do it, the more you see it.
The more
and what I
people see it.
love, especially about Facebook and Instagram right now, is perfection is not the key. Like a couple years ago, I feel like everybody's Instagram grids, everything was like the perfect filter. Oh my gosh, it was intimidating.
It was professionally done.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Crazy, good lighting.
It really isn't. Instagram keeps changing their profiles, and everybody's pictures look janky, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But I think it relieves that idea that you have to be perfect, and instead just says show up because this is going to live for 12 seconds.
Right.
Especially on a story or something like that.
Right.
It's just not, but
Let's show you who I am.
right.
Not
and you're top of mind with people.
professional studio.
Exactly.
So this reminds me, I have an insecurity about social media because I'm not
too.
on there enough.
And her
I'm
pictures
not
are beautiful.
consistent
I do
enough.
too. I
No, they're
don't
not.
like to be on
Yes,
it
they
either.
are.
I did a silly Disney dance and had the most views on a reel this past week.
Well, there you go.
Like
That's the
I need to
reason
do
why.
more things like
Right.
this. But no, speaking of what you just mentioned, I met some clients through Instagram. They found me. The wife found me on my social media, and I have always been, again, just such a work-driven. My husband would say people call me because of my hustle. I wouldn't give that to myself, but I, again, I don't have an off switch. And so I'm so like business driven that I don't want people to know if I'm working with you, I don't want you to hear a kid in the background. And the truth is that's who I am. I'm a mom with a 4 and a 6-year-old. So sometimes you may hear a little kid.
Yeah.
And
People are
that's
with
okay.
that.
I think people are
But
too.
this client literally found me on Instagram and she said, "I called you because I felt like I could relate to you. You were a mom and I saw that you sold pretty homes and you live in Memphis." And it was the mom thing. And that was the one piece that I try to separate. And,
Right.
I'm
And
just
that's what she
Ashley
was-
Realtor.
yeah.
And so anyways, that's fun to see. We've already planned a coffee for Christmas, but because they're new to Memphis. They moved here from New York. But it's fun. It's fun. The social media I need to work on.
She has a great social
Rachel
media
crushes the
presence.
social.
No, but I don't overthink things. I told y'all I'm a crossed off the list. Like, let's just throw it out there and
Well,
roll.
and really the things that aren't as polished, like those are the videos that
ones
do
that get-
trend. You
right.
want to see the real lives of people.
Right.
Right.
And see, I'm super self-conscious as well. I don't like to put stuff up because I'm just don't like it. I'll do a video 48 times and still don't like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So and then it's just like it doesn't go on at all.
Right.
I just don't do it. So I've seen agents do like happy closing day, this is it. And then they tell a story. Some of the other ones tell a story. Do you think one is better than the other?
I think people want the stories.
Yeah, like you said earlier,
sure.
like you're walking life through with these people for 2, 3, a year, and there's a huge story in there. They might have went through 15 different houses that they got outbid on.
Yeah.
Then they just finally got one.
Right.
And I've seen some agents tell those stories, and then some are just like, payday.
Right.
I know, and it's hard because I think we're busy, and so you're like, I do need to show up, and so I want to put a graphic up that nobody cares about. And then there's some parts of the story you can't tell, but I do think we do a horrible job of telling the story because it's months long to get you from start to finish, and there's so much involved. I mean, the lender, the relationship you have with the lender is your closing attorney.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's emotional. Life happens throughout that.
Yeah.
30 to 60 day process. There's a lot that happens, and you get to walk alongside someone so closely throughout that. I'm really bad about not sharing the stories.
I really am too, because I just want to get it up.
Mm-hmm. This is a real story about this past year that I was working with a physician at St. Jude, and they were the sweetest family, and we looked for quite a while, over a year, and we found an East Memphis home, and we got past even through inspections. There was a lot of negotiations throughout that process. I was in Nashville at my daughter's 4-year-old little birthday celebration, and I worked the whole time on this negotiation deal with some of these repairs, and I get back and we get through that process, and we were about a week and a half before closing, and they finally called me and just said the wife was battling an illness, and so they had to pull away. And both of them were in tears because they felt like they had wasted my time. And I thought, oh my goodness, like, I don't care about my time right now. I'm, praying for you guys. Is there anything I can do? Later they had to forfeit earnest money. It was a hard situation, but they just had to make a good decision for their family. Right. And that's what I cared about in that moment. Those hours I'll get back, those will be blessed in another way. But I sent her flowers, and she had called me a week later, still crying and just so thankful for the way I handled it. And I thought, who wouldn't handle it that way?
Not every transaction is hard, right?
Right.
So you do have those transactions where you're like, oh, I feel like I didn't even talk to these clients, and we just texted the whole time. They had no issues, and there was no repairs, and you will have those, and they're such a blessing. And they sweeten the year of real estate that you may or may not have. But there is a story behind every door that closes, and we are not, historically, I am not great at telling the story. So if you're an agent out there and you're thinking, how do I show up on social differently? Tell the story, because most people aren't.
Right. Yeah, I have a buddy who tells stories like that, and he does a tremendous job. He'll just kind of go through it, and it may be weeks later after it's closing. It's not on closing day, but he puts a great story up and tons of likes on it because people love a story.
Right. And they matter. Like, that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. Years back, my wife, Amy, was saying, before Instagram and all that stuff, it may have been there, but it wasn't cool like it is today when blogs were in.
Yeah.
You need to create a blog. As many closings as I was doing, she's like, create a blog and tell the story of each one of those. It's like, that's a fantastic idea.
Right.
But I'm terrible at writing stories. I had ChatGPT.
Well, now you have
I was about to say, Chat changed the game.
story for you.
If I had that, then I might have been doing it.
That's
but I
right.
wanted to be able to, she's like, take pictures, and because I go to probably 90% of my closings and take pictures and things like that.
We know that's a big deal too, because most lenders don't come. And y'all are a big part of the process.
Yes, we are.
Everybody else is sitting around the
part.
table, and they're going through a closing disclosure, and it's all y'all's numbers. And then attorneys got to interpret a lot of that. So I do think that that's a big deal that you guys show up.
You do? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So, well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
So, how do we get in touch with you? Ashley, you go first.
So my contact information's on our Reed Realtors website. And my Instagrams are out there too. So I would just say Reed website, and you can find me.
Yeah. Go to Instagram and
For
look
sure.
Ashley Tinker.
Ashley Tinker, Memphis real estate agent. You'll find me.
Rachel?
Same. You can find me on socials. Also have a website, rachelgossrealestate.com. So all my contact information's there. If you need anything, I'm happy to help.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to share real quick?
This was great.
Yes. Thank you. I was telling you guys, I love podcasts so much. I just listen to them all the time because it's like having conversations with people. And I think in this day and age, it's something that's lost.
Right.
We are quick to get to our next thing. We text. We don't talk on the phone. And so sitting down and hearing someone's heart and taking the time to do that can change your day.
Right.
And so I just thank you for letting us be a part of this.
For
It was
sure.
really fun.
This was
You're
really
so
sweet.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
And great luck for 2026.
Thank
They
you.
say
You
it's
as
going to
well.
be the best year.
Let's
They say
go.
that. They say.
We're
So
ready.
they say.
Call
All right.
us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out today and listening. We'll see you guys at the next community table.